Right, so here's everything we're going to need to make our vegan dal makhani, and it is an absolute breeze, I assure you. So the most important thing is our urad, our whole urad that we're using here with the skin on. As you can see, they are very dark in colour and they still have all of those lovely skins on, and that is what's going to make up the base of our dal makhani. Now this is an optional step, but absolutely something that I like to do, which is to add a little bit of kidney beans to this, and these are dried kidney beans that I'm using here. And for the purpose of this recipe, all I do is mix these two together and soak them, and I'll show you how to do that in a minute. But these are together going to give this dal makhani an incredible texture. Some people don't like the kidney beans or rajma in their dal makhani, and if that's the case, then you can simply substitute it with the same measure of more urad. Some people like to use chana dal for a bit of texture, but I really like the combination of the kidney beans and the whole urad together. Moving on to our spices, we are going to need some whole black cardamom, which is also called moti elaichi, and you can find these in your Indian grocery shop, as you can all of these ingredients, but these in particular give this dal makhani its characteristic smoky, delicious, deep flavour. And that I also have a little bit of Indian bay leaf here. This is a dried one, also called tej patta, that adds a lovely earthiness, and some cinnamon stick in this case. I'm also using some whole jeera or cumin seeds, some ground coriander seeds, some kasuri methi. This is just dried methi leaves, and this is also going to go as a garnish on this as well. So I'm going to add it right at the end of cooking, and I'm also going to garnish the dish with this too. I also have a little bit of cardamom here. This is just ground cardamom seeds, and some Kashmiri chili powder, and a little bit of turmeric as well, and then we're going to need some salt. In addition to these spices, we're going to need lots and lots of good quality garam masala. Choose one that you really love the flavour of, because we're going to be using lots and lots in this recipe. For this vegan dal makhani, we'll also need some ginger and garlic, and over here I have two special ingredients. Now this is just regular vegan block, which you can buy in most supermarkets now. You can also buy the soft kind that comes in a tub. It'll work just fine. And if you're not vegan, then of course you can substitute that with regular butter. And then here I have some oat cream, and this is one of my new favorite ingredients. I love cooking with this, and you can use it in the same way that you use single cream in any recipe, and it leaves little to no flavor actually. It's nice and creamy, and it doesn't like curdle or split or anything. It just has a really lovely kind of mild flavour, which is what we want in any kind of cream that we're using for cooking. And finally we have some tomatoes, and these are just tinned tomatoes that I've whizzed up in my blender just so they're nice and smooth. You can use fresh tomatoes if you want. You can use tomato passata, or you can use tomato paste that you've added some water to. It's really up to you. It's very versatile. It's a very forgiving dish as well, so just use whatever you have in the cupboard, and I promise you the outcome will be absolutely fantastic. So let's get cooking. So I'm going to take both of these in a bowl and just give them a quick mixy mix. So the proportions will be in the recipe itself, but as you can see here, I've got mainly black urad and just a little bit of kidney beans to just add a little bit of depth in there. And the first thing we need to do is add some room temperature water to this, and what we have to do is wash these really, really well. So I'm just going to pour room temperature water in here and swish it around with my hands. And if I was using two hands right now, I'd kind of rub these in between my palms. I'm holding the phone, obviously, so I can't do that right now, but you can kind of get the drift. We want to kind of rub them and get any kind of dirt that's on those lentils off there. So I've been cleaning these just for a couple of minutes now, and as you can see, the water is kind of murky and a little bit gross. That is the dirt that's on these lentils, so we really have to wash them and spend a bit of time doing that as well. So all I'm going to do is drain this water away and repeat this another 2 times so that our water runs nice and clear and we've got all of that dirt that's on those lentils off, because we want our lentils and beans to be nice and clean for this dal makhani. So this is my third time washing these lentils now, and as you can see they are lovely and clean and the water is running nice and clear. So that means that they are perfect for soaking now. So I'm just going to drain this water away. My lentils and beans are now drained of the water that we washed them in, and the next step is something that I like to do to ensure that these beans don't have any of those kind of hard beans that never cook in there. And these are what's known in my family as totura, and they're kind of like the lentils that no matter how long you cook them for, they just won't cook. They always remain rock hard and you always end up biting one and it just ruins the entire meal for you, because you're just like crunching down on this one lentil or bean, this toru, that is coming in your mouth and you're just not happy with that. And this is something that really helps stop that from happening. So at this point, all I'm going to do is add a tiny pinch, which is probably about 1/8 of a teaspoon or less of bicarbonate of soda, and that is baking soda. And that is going to help soften the skins of these rajma and these little urad dal up, so that we aren't going to get those kind of lentils that just don't cook no matter how long you cook them for. And then on top of that, we are going to add some boiling hot water, and that really helps these kind of soften their skins up nicely. Now if you live somewhere that's really hot, then I recommend you just kind of soak these in some warm water or room temperature water, but because I'm in the UK, it's quite cold outside at the moment, this is a really good way of So these little guys here need to soak for 8 hours minimum, and the reason for that is because I've added these rajma and they take a lot longer to rehydrate, and we want them to be really nice and soft, which is why we added the baking soda and the hot water as well, and this is just going to help them soften up. Now 8 hours minimum or overnight is ideal. I'm doing this at night now, so these are ready for me to cook tomorrow. It's just easier to kind of leave it on the countertop. You don't need to refrigerate it or anything, just leave it as it is and they will be good to go in about 8 to 12 hours. My urad and kidney beans have been soaking overnight now, and as you can see they have increased in volume. They've taken up all of that water, but all of this water is now very murky and we've got this slight foamy kind of film on top. Don't worry about that, that's completely normal. What we need to do now is just give these a drain and a rinse under the tap so that they're nice and clean for our dal makhani. And just something to say as well is that this water doesn't need to be tipped down the drain. You can use this to like feed your house plants. They will absolutely love this, so don't waste it, and especially when you're washing these as well, and the soaking liquor, you can use these to water any kind of house plants that you've got, and they'll absolutely adore all of the nourishment and goodness from these lentils and beans. So my beans are now ready, and as you can see, these little urad dal have kind of doubled in their size and their skins have started to split and they turned kind of a greenish colour, and they're so pretty. Now there are a number of ways that you can cook these. The first being in your conventional pressure cooker, and you need to get that going for about 20 to 25 minutes, which will probably be about 7 or 8 whistles in your pressure cooker, so make sure that you have the whistle in. I'm going to do these in my pressure pot today just because I don't want to make too much mess on my cooker, and I just want things to stay relatively contained within that pot. So I've popped my urad and kidney beans in here, and I'm just going to fill it with lots and lots of fresh water. And to this amount of beans I'm adding probably about 1.5 litres of fresh water to that, and that just needs to be room temperature water, not hot water. So now this is going to go in my pressure pot for Now I have one of these Pressure King Pros. I know a lot of you will probably have like an instant pot, so if you've got like a stew or soup function, something that's relatively long, this is the stew one on here, and it is 30 minutes long, and that is just perfect for these. And then once those 30 minutes are up, I will depressurize it very carefully and just double check that those beans and lentils are nice and soft. So I have my pan heating up here, and the first thing I'm going to do is throw in my vegan block vegan butter. I'm going to let that melt, and then I'm going to go ahead and add my cumin seeds. Now this is bubbling away nicely, so I'm going to go ahead and sprinkle in my cumin seeds and the 2 big cardamoms, the bari elaichi and the bay leaf. My cinnamon also goes in. Just give this a little saute just for a couple of seconds. Now into this goes the rest of our ingredients. I'm just going to throw everything in. So I've got the kasuri methi, the cardamom, the ground coriander seeds, the turmeric, Kashmiri chili and salt, and I'm also going to put the garam masala in now as well. And then what we're going to do is give this all a really nice stir. We don't really want this to cook a whole lot, we just want it to kind of sizzle and become nicely incorporated into that. Just a minute or so. At this point we'll also add in our ginger and garlic, which I have crushed up really nicely, and that's just going to sizzle in there as well, just for a couple of minutes. This is looking good and is now ready for our tomatoes to be added, so we'll just chuck all of that in as well. Give it a good stir again. Now we want this to cook for probably about 10 minutes until the oil starts coming away from the sides of the pan and we can see that those tomatoes are cooked. Once it starts bubbling, just cover it with a lid. You can leave it open just very slightly, just so some of that steam can escape a little bit, and just leave it for about 5 minutes over a medium-ish low heat. This is now looking perfectly cooked. My masala is smelling amazing. Now it is time to add in our cooked dal. Now my dal and kidney beans are cooked really nicely now. They're really soft. Let me just quickly show you the texture of these and how they should be. So if you grab some in your fingers, oops, that's hot, and just kind of mash it like that, and if it mushes really easily, then it is perfect. So while my masala is bubbling away, I'm just going to ladle in my cooked dal and kidney beans, including all of that lovely water as well. We don't want to waste a drop of that water, and this will actually thicken as it cooks as well. So we're going to simmer this for much longer now. You can do it anywhere from 35 minutes to 12 hours, but 35 minutes simmering after this is all mixed up is the bare minimum. You want to simmer this really low and slow until it is lovely and thick and creamy. Now my dal is really nicely incorporated into this now, as you can see. And what I'm going to do is switch my little wooden spoon for a ladle, and we're going to move on to the next part of making this dal makhani. And in my opinion, this is one of the most important steps of making a dal makhani, and that is to use a ladle or a potato masher to kind of start mashing this really carefully. You don't want it to spill over, and my heat is still on quite low at the moment, so be careful. You want to keep this over the flame so that it doesn't go cold. We still want it to cook nicely, So just keep using your ladle to kind of press it up against the sides of the pan. Watch your fingers. Just keep pressing it and watch your fingers. Make sure that you don't burn yourself while you're doing this. Really important to keep your hands safe. Just keep mashing away, and this is what's going to release all of those lovely starches from those beans and the urad dal, so that you get a lovely, thick, creamy, rich dal makhani. Keep going, be patient. You can use a little whisk for this if you want. A potato masher works really well, but I find just using the back of a spoon or a ladle is just fine. Now I'm happy with how far I've taken the mashing of this dal. Now we have two options, so at this point it might look like there's a lot of water in here, but remember that this is going to continue to cook and thicken for at least 35 minutes, and if that's something that you want to do at this point, what you need to do is take your little spoon out, bring this to the boil, turn the heat down to low and cover it with a lid and simmer for 35 minutes, and then your dal makhani will be ready to move on to the next stage. Now, if you're like me and you want to slow cook this, because I love dal makhani, what you can do is pop the lid on this and then cook it for a further 2 hours over a very, very low heat, and make sure you come and stir it often and keep an eye on it. But one thing that I like to do, because I like to cook it really low and slow and I just want to forget about it, I don't want to keep coming and checking on it, is to pile it into my pressure pot and use a slow cooker function to then leave this for 12 hours. And I'm telling you, like, just the flavour of slow cooked dal makhani is just incredible. You won't believe you made this at home, and neither will your family, trust me. So what I'm going to do at this point, now that it's boiling, is pile this into my pressure pot and slow cook it. Right, now my dal is in the pressure pot, and what I'm going to do is just stick the lid on, and I'm going to just slow cook this. And that is just going to cook low and slow. It's now been 3 hours that my dal makhani has been simmering slowly in this pot, and it is just smelling incredible. Now I'm going to serve it. I'm ready to serve. So what I'm going to do is add some of my lovely oat cream, and I like to add some freshly julienne ginger. And this wouldn't be dal makhani without the mukkan, and because this is a vegan version, I'm going to add a couple of cubes of my lovely vegan butter, and of course no dal makhani is complete without a little bit of kasuri methi as well. So I'm just going to mix that all up, and we are now ready to serve this. Look at that gorgeous creamy texture. Finishing touch, as always in my home, is fresh coriander, including the stems, and this is so good, guys. I can't tell you how comforting this is, and I'm going to be serving it with my lovely little garlic and coriander naans, and can you see how soft and fluffy they are? Can't wait to dunk this in and enjoy it. The whole family is going to love it, and I hope you enjoy this gorgeous, gorgeous recipe. Take care of yourselves wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and keep well fed.